Hi, I'm Adam the geneticist. Today, I'll be teaching you about DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It is a very long and a very large molecule made up of lots of chains of subunits. DNA is made up of molecules known as nucleotides. Nucleotides consist of a phosphate, deoxyribose, which is a sugar, and a base. This is known as a subunit. There are 4 types of bases, known as adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. These 4 bases only connect to one other base. For example, adenine and thymine only connect together, and cytosine and guanine only connect together. A different order of bases means a different set of instructions for our body, and thus things like how we look are dictated. When connected, these bases form what is called a double helix. DNA is so important because it is the blueprint for all life, whether a tree, a clownfish, or a human. As previously stated, DNA determines how people will look and their body functions. It can also cause crippling disabilities, protect our bodies from diseases, or allow us to run faster. Everyone has a different DNA sequence, even twins, although their DNA sequences would be similar. Pictured on the right is the first few DNA sequences for a carnivorous plant, the organism which I constructed my lolly double helix on. Without DNA, our cells would not survive, and therefore we would die. A double helix is the common structure of DNA. Double helixes consist of subunits on either side of the helix, which connect to the other side of the helix through the interconnected bases, such as adenine being connected to thymine. One side of a double helix runs anti-parallel to the other side. Pictured on the right as an example is 2 trains running anti-parallel to each other. The current video is of a computer-generated double helix. The blue in the double helix represents the deoxyribose and phosphate, while the green and red represent different bases which are interconnected. The average strand of DNA is approximately 1.2 meters when uncoiled, but coiled up, it can fit inside of the nucleus of a cell, something which measures only a few nanometers. Unfortunately, and sometimes fortunately, DNA can have mutations. There are 4 main types of DNA mutations. Substitution. This exchanges one base for another. This could encode a different amino acid, which causes a small change in the protein produced. It could also encode the same amino acid, resulting in no change, or it could encode an amino acid which forms an incomplete protein. Insertions are where extra base pairs are inserted into the DNA. Deletions are where sections of the DNA are lost. And finally, frameshifts are where protein-building DNA is divided into codeines 3 bases long. Insertions or deletions can alter a gene so that the message is passed incorrectly. For example, take the sentence, "His cat sat." In this sentence, each word represents a codon. If we deleted the first letter in the sentence and passed the sentence in the same way, the sentence would read, "Isk ats at," which clearly doesn't make sense. Frameshifts are similar to this, except on the DNA level. Things such as having blue eyes, being able to drink milk, and also unfortunately Down syndrome are all related to genetic mutations. There are also ways of testing your DNA sequence through having a sample of something like your blood, saliva, or hair analysed. This allows you to understand whether you may have any genetic predispositions, which may result in a genetic mutation that you may have or that may be passed on to your children. Furthermore, DNA has to be replicated, and this can also sometimes result in mutations. During DNA replication, the double helix is split. These 2 strands are then used as templates for the production of its counterpart. Once split, the DNA forms into RNA, which is then passed through the ribosome as directed by the codons. Once the RNA is processed in the ribosome, it forms new proteins in accordance with the genetic code. This then forms the replicated DNA. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have learnt something new about DNA.